Recoleta is finally out on the global servers, and she's arguably the strongest DPS in the game if you play her right. So how do we play her right? Well, just do as I say. Hello everybody, my name is Hako and welcome into the channel. In this video, I'm gonna teach you everything you need to know about Recoleta. She is extremely potent in the right teams if you know what you're doing. So let's get to it. Recoleta is a 6-star Mineral Arcanist character introduced in the version 2.6. She excels as a DPS, she deals burst damage, and she's what we call a Moxie unit. She delivers devastating reality damage while generating Moxie for herself and her team, enabling rapid ultimate cycling. Her kit revolves around accumulating monomythic narrative and ensemble narrative. Now these ones are gonna be important, so let's do them again. Monomythic narrative and ensemble narrative. Single target and multi-target. We'll get more into that in a little bit. And also leveraging Preparation Recoleta, which is a special skill that Recoleta can play for free, and it will cost the target with the most Moxie at the time to use their ultimate. And her gameplay is all about scaling her Maze of Visceral Realism, which is her ultimate for massive burst. Recoleta's unique ability to amplify team ultimate usage through Moxie generation makes her a cornerstone of high damage, ultimate reliant compositions. Her kit rewards strategic planning, positioning her as a top-tier choice for both casual and competitive players. Recoleta's abilities. Recoleta's kit centers on Moxie generation, stack accumulation, remember monomythic narrative and ensemble narrative, and high damage ultimates. And let's go through her skills one by one. Her first one is Metaphysical Conceit, which is a one-target attack. This one deals a little bit of reality damage, but most importantly, it inflicts 2 stacks of Passion Drain. What is Passion Drain, you ask? Well, Passion Drain is a debuff we put on enemy, and whenever anybody in the team hits that enemy, they will lose 1 charge of Passion Drain, but that character will also gain 1 extra Moxie. Now, if Passion Drain sounds familiar, it is because Melania also gets this with her Euphoria, which is gonna be a big part of playing Recoleta. And how you want to use this attack is you want to apply it to an enemy that is not about to die. And then we have to do a little bit of brain work. Who do we want to do the next 2 hits in order to get their Moxie? Obviously, we don't want to be overcapping on Moxie, so playing Recoleta is all about strategic planning. And for her second ability, it's Literary Imagery. It's a mass attack dealing reality damage to 2 enemies. But here's one important kicker: if there is 1 enemy target, Recoleta gets 5 stacks of monomythic narrative. And now enough teasing around, let's talk about the narratives. What monomythic narrative does is, when casting an ultimate, consumes all stacks of this effect, with each consumed dealing an additional 70% reality damage to the main target. And this one stacks up to 20 times. Which means, fully stacked, we do 1,400% more damage to the main target, and this is insane. So this one triggers if there's only 1 enemy on the field. And that's also why it buffs up the single target damage of her ultimate. But if there's more than 1 enemy on the field, Recoleta will instead be granted 5 stacks of Ensemble Narrative. And this one is more AoE focused. What Ensemble Narrative does is, when casting an ultimate, consumes all stack of this effect, with each consumed stack dealing an additional 350% reality damage to all targets. Once again, stacking up to 20 times, and at full stacks we deal 700% more damage, like as a mass attack. So slightly lower modifiers, but much better for like AoE clear. And the narrative buffs, they are not exclusive. You can stack 20 monomythic and also 20 ensemble. And now let's talk about the big one. Recoleta's ult is called Maze of Visceral Realism. And I hope that you enjoy the ult animations of this, because you will be seeing it a lot. It is a mass attack dealing reality damage. It deals 450% reality damage to all enemies, with an additional 450% damage to the main target. It consumes all stacks of monomythic narrative and ensemble narrative, and makes the ultimate deal a lot more damage. Now if you take a look at the modifiers, base kit, it deals 450% reality damage to all enemies. Now if you fully stack Ensemble Narrative, we deal an additional 700% reality damage to all enemies, and if we fully stack up monomythic narratives, we do a whopping 1400% extra reality damage to the main target. Which means that this ultimate hits around 3 times as much if you fully stack Recoleta beforehand, which is what we kinda want to do. But wait, there is more. When Recoleta casts its ultimate, she consumes all the Moxie on herself. For each additional Moxie consumed, so any Moxie more than 5, grants ultimate might 3% to this attack. And she also grants 1 extra Moxie to another ally with the lowest current Moxie. If at least 5 additional Moxies are consumed, the bonus ultimate might granted to this attack is doubled. I'm not on camera right now, so you can't see me smiling, but I'm smiling because this is ludicrous. This becomes so much damage. So as you can see, Recoleta's ultimate does a lot more damage if we can get her to like full Moxie. She can have 5 extra Moxie. And also if we had the full stacks of the ensemble, this is just a nuclear bomb. And now let's talk about her insides. Inside 1 gives Recoleta max Moxie plus 2, but the Moxie required to gain ultimate is still 5. So remember the ultimate, this is where the additional Moxie comes in. And after another ally casts an ultimate, Recoleta gains Moxie plus 1, and for each point of Moxie consumed by that one target or mass ultimate, Recoleta gains 1 stack of Monomythic Narrative or 1 stack of Ensemble Narrative. So if we have an ally that uses 5 Moxie, which is the usual number for an ultimate, and it's a single target ultimate, Recoleta will then get 5 stacks of Monomythic Narrative. If, however, the character casts a mass ultimate, she will instead gain 5 stacks of Ensemble Narrative. So if Pickles, for example, that has a 1 target ultimate casts his ultimate, she will gain 5 stacks of Monomythic. But if Euphoria casts her ultimate, which is a mass ultimate, she will gain 5 stacks of Ensemble Narrative. Insight 2 gives 50% crit damage. And Insight 3 gives us 3 additional Moxie, which gives her a total of 10 Moxie capacity. Ultimate still costs 5. And when Recoleta enters battles, she will gain 3 Moxie and also 1 stack of Preparation Recoleta. And class, what could we do with Preparation Recoleta? Well, it will turn into a Flood of Fiction, which makes the ally with the highest Moxie consume all their Moxie to cast an ultimate. Then that ally recovers the consumed Moxie. So if Melania has 7 Moxie and that's the highest, and we use this, Melania will then cast her ultimate, which costs 5 Moxie, and after that she will also be refunded 5 Moxie. And since that is a single target attack, Recoleta will gain 5 stacks of Monomythic Narrative. And this extra ultimate does not count as an extra action, and the recovered Moxie cannot exceed the Moxie required to cast the ultimate. And now here comes a little bit of a kicker with Insight 3. After casting an ultimate, for every 10 stacks of Monomythic Narrative and or Ensemble Narrative consumed, gain 1 stack of Preparation Recoleta. Now base kit, a maximum of 1 Preparation Recoleta can be earned this way, but Insight 1 makes it so we can get 2. Which is why Insight 2 is insane on her. So now that we know how her cards work, let's talk about how to actually play her. Recoleta's effectiveness hinges on managing Moxie, Monomythic Narrative and Ensemble Narrative stacks, and also Preparation Recoleta. Now playing Recoleta requires a lot of planning. We will start every combat with a Preparation Recoleta, and we need to make sure that this kinda gets used on the target we want it to. Recoleta's best teammate is Melania, and if we're playing with Melania, she works as a sub-carry together with Recoleta. And if you know anything about Melania, well, she wants to cast a lot of ultimates. And the more ultimates she do, the more damage she does. So in a team consisting of, let's say, Recoleta, Pickles, Melania, and Euphoria, preferably, we want Melania to be doing the extra ultimates that we will get with Preparation Recoleta, or in some cases we want Recoleta herself to be actually doing them. Because if Recoleta is the character with the highest Moxie, she herself will get to cast her ultimate through Preparation Recoleta. And any combat start is basically an arms race to see how fast you can stack up your Recoleta and start doing her ultimate. We always want to make sure that Recoleta has at least 10 Monomythic Narrative or 10 Ensemble Narrative or at least 10 put together. And remember, we build that through Literary, Imagery or having our other units cast their ultimates. Now for the fact that Mass Ultimates gives Ensemble Narrative and Single Target's Ultimate gives Monomythic Narratives, it can be nice to bring a team that has access to both. Euphoria, for example, has a Mass Ultimate, and so does Sotheby. Meanwhile, Melania's is a Single Target Ultimate, and she will be doing this a lot, so she alone can take care of the single target stacking. Now Pickles is a very potent teammate to bring next to Recoleta, and I mean that literally. Pickles is a very good boy and Recoleta's best friend, so always position Pickles right behind Recoleta, because he provides the most buffs to the character right in front of him. And especially if that character is a mineral character. So combat with Recoleta is all about stacking the different narratives and also building Moxie. If you need narratives, use Literary Imagery. If you need to quickly get Moxie, use Metaphysical Conceit. And once Recoleta reaches 5 Moxie, we can do her ultimate. But remember, the higher narrative stacks and the more Moxie we have, the more damage this one will hit. But some situations are gonna require you to do this right now to clear stuff up. But if the situation allows it, it might be better to hold off. Make sure the Recoleta is fully buffed by Pickles and whatnot, and then you do an ultimate fully stacked at 10 Moxie and 20 narrative stacks. And remember, this is a team game, and it's never a more team game than when you're playing Recoleta. Recoleta is going to be doing most of the damage, but she relies on her teammates to backing her up with buffs and fast ult cycling. The more investment you have into Recoleta's teammates, like the more goated they are, the more goated your Recoleta will be. Melania, for example, she gets a big boost at P2, and playing a Recoleta team means having your head a little bit in the game. If, for example, Recoleta will be fully stacked after the third card is played, maybe like do her ultimate after that. Because if we're just pressing buttons and playing cards, chances are that we're gonna get some resources go to waste. So keep a lookout for how much stacks are Recoleta rocking for both of the narratives and how's everybody's Moxie looking. And when you're using preparation Recoleta, make sure that the right ally is the one that's gonna get to use the ultimate. Say for example that Lopera has one more Moxie than Melania. Then if you queue up an attack from Melania before Preparation Recoleta will play out, then Melania will be the one to go because she will then have 2 extra Moxie. But if you don't have access to that, you can also use your ultimate beforehand on Lopera to empty out her Moxie. Then after that in the queue, you play Preparation Recoleta, and then Melania will then be the current highest Moxie holder. And since Maze of Visceral Realism, her ultimate, is such a big and hard-hitting attack, always make sure that Recoleta is fully buffed before she does a fully stacked up one, or that the enemy is fully debuffed with everything that they should be. And playing Recoleta and Melania together is all about like creating like positive feedback loops. And done properly, it really becomes like a snowball effect of Moxie. And now let's talk some teams. Recoleta thrives in ultimate focus teams, and I'll give you some really strong and potent options. Team 1, Recoleta, Pickles, Kakania, and Melania. Now this can be a little bit of a risky team because we're not running a designated healer, but in this team, Recoleta leads with literary imagery for ensemble narrative stacks, or if we're facing a single enemy, we get monomythic narrative, which is the single target stacks. We use her metaphysical conceit to debuff the enemies and get more Moxie whenever we hit them, and when the stars align, we use her ultimate, Maze of Visceral Realism. And right behind Recoleta, we slot in Pickles. As I touched upon earlier, Pickles buffs the character in front of him. Now he has some team-wide buffs, but the most potent buffs only applies to the target right in front of Pickles. So we always want to make sure that this is Recoleta. And Pickles with his Euphoria is actually a very like good support, especially in the Recoleta team. Fully Euphoria'd up, he has very easy access to his ultimate as well. And then we have Kakania, which is one of the best supports and tanks in the entire game. She makes this entire team extremely tanky and also provides very potent buffs. And the biggest puzzle piece in any Recoleta team is Melania, and she is rising in power beyond belief paired together with Recoleta. Now the good thing with Melania is that a lot of people have her. She is on the rookie banner and she's been with the game since the game's launch. And Melania is getting her Euphoria, which means that she's gonna be on the ripples of the water banner. So Pickles and Kakania, they can be kinda interchangeable, but if you have Melania, always run Melania in your Recoleta team. But other teammates could be Lopera, Sotheby, Mercuria, Fatutu, Miss New Bubble, Tooth Fairy, some cases Lucy, and since Recoleta is a crit-based carry, bringing an Argus is not a bad idea. Sotheby is a very cool and potent healer. She's the only healer in the game that has a mass attack ultimate, which really benefits Recoleta. Lopera is also a very good teammate for Recoleta, although remember to position Lopera properly. Now you may or may not know this, but she distributes bullets to the entire team, and she distributes different bullets to the front of her compared to the back of her. Allies in the front, the benefit of incantation might, and allies behind her, they get ritual bullets that increases ultimate might. So if you're running a Lopera, always make sure that Recoleta is behind her. Now let's talk some Psycubes. Recoleta's absolutely best Psycube is her signature one, the final roll. Another good option would be the Karate of the Heart, which is a good Psycube for an ultimate focus character like Recoleta. A universal, easy accessible pick is Hopscotch. Basically anything that gives ultimate might can benefit Recoleta. Now let's talk some portraits. Her standout ones are Portrait 1 and Portrait 2, with Portrait 1 being the absolutely most important one. And this one does it so when casting an ultimate, the maximum stack limit of Preparation Recoleta is increased to 2. This is insanely good. And this makes it so if we have 20 stacks of the narratives, we gain 2 casts of Preparation Recoleta. And that is absolutely borderline broken, and it really helps like smooth out and like speed up all rotations. After that, level 2 is a really good one, which makes it so the additional reality damage we get by consuming monomythic narrative and ensemble narrative is increased to 70 and 35%. So a 20 and a 10% increase. And if you're looking to like really make a dangerous Recoleta, Portrait 2 is a good stopping point. P3, we get a slightly more heavy-hitting ultimate, and P4 increases the damage of literary imagery and also makes it so that the stacks we gain goes from 5 to 10. This is also a big boost. And P5 is all about the ultimate. It increases the ultimate damage, and it also increases how much extra damage we do with each extra point of Moxie. So everybody, that's all I can teach you about Recoleta. And I thought, let's end with some finishing words. Before I started playing Recoleta, I was hypothesizing that she and Anjonala would be insane together. Now, yes and no to that. They do work well together, but there is a certain lack of synergy. And it's all in the way that Anjonala's ultimate is put together. Now, she doesn't give Recoleta stacks per se, because she uses the Moxie to go to sleep. She doesn't do a single target attack, she doesn't do a mass attack, she just goes to sleep. And that doesn't work super well with Recoleta's kit, unfortunately. But here comes the caveat. Since Recoleta is a mineral character, pairing Anjonala up with her makes a very potent Anjonala. And with Recoleta, we're casting a lot of incantations. Do you see where I'm going with this? Like, it still works even though there's parts of it that doesn't work. And you can also choose to, pair up Anjonala together with the Melania instead. But that also has some problems, because then we can't, make Melania do 5 ultimates in one round. Because as soon as they do one ultimate, they go to sleep because, they're tied to Anju. Now, mind you, I've tried this team out extensively. So, it still works and still gets high scores in the main bulletin, but there's so much, what do you call a lack of synergy? Unsynergy? Dis-synergy? There's so much dis-synergy. But Anjonala being as strong as she is, it still kind of works. And I'm gonna be honest with you. When I started using Recoleta, at first I was a little bit underwhelmed because I started without Pickles, Euphoria, and I started without Melania, Euphoria. But once I got both of the Euphoria up, I leveled everything to max, then it took off. It felt like a completely different team. And like I touched upon, the biggest puzzle piece is Melania Euphoria. So, everybody, let me know what you thought about this down in the comments. Are you excited about Recoleta? And do you have experience with Recoleta? Do you have any additional tips for your fellow community members? Make sure to slap it down in the comments. Which is where I will also put if there needs any corrections, or if I thought of something after uploading like, oh shit, I should have mentioned this, you'll find it in the comments. And these guides, they do take a lot of work to do, so if you feel like it helped you out, feel super free to help me out with a thumbs up. And maybe subscribe to the channel. I do this for a living, and I am partnered with Reverse 1999. So if you're into that kind of stuff, that's what I'll be posting. Alright everybody, big hug, and thank you so much for watching. Until next time, Hako out.
Just fill me with that alcohol, the time is getting slow. No words convince me, beat that soul, don't ask me what is real. Just fill me with that alcohol, the time is getting slow. No words convince me, beat that soul, don't ask me what is real. Get drunk, wait for sunrise.